Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Rundown with Ramon. This could be, in fact, one of the best interviews yet on The Rundown with Ramon. We want you to live your best life and help you start or build your business. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com. Definitely DM me on Instagram at RamonRaySmartHustle. Let me know how you're enjoying The Rundown with Ramon and or what we can do better. But back to Denise Hamilton, my interviewee of this episode of The Rundown with Ramon. Absolutely amazing. Denise Hamilton is a speaker, is an author, and so much more. Her specialty is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we touched on that as I look at my notes a bit. And I'm going to tell you a bit what we talked about. We talked about the aspect of it's important to be honest with yourself and honest with all of us as we talk about how willing are we to be inclusive and diverse and equitable to all. And there's so much more. But really what I talked to you about is we talked about how she's building her business. A few key things we're talking about today. One, understanding what are your skills. What do you do really, really, really well? And then what do you either not like to do or don't do so well? What do you do about that? How she's built her business with a team. So we talked about those things. We talked about the aspect of strategic mediocrity. You're going to be very interested in how she uses that word and what that means for you. I really like the fact that she says when she goes to events and probably even other things, she tries to 5X, get the most that she can out of an event she's going to. And probably we can use that concept for other things as well. And we talked about the power of relationships. Denise has been using Clubhouse. I've been on Clubhouse quite a bit. She's gotten to know Adam Grant and other pretty esteemed thought leaders of the business world of late, and how she's working those relationships, how she got those relationships, and how you can get the relationships you need. So once again, thanks for listening to The Rundown with Ramon. Check out this interview with Denise Hamilton. Denise Hamilton, thanks for joining me. How are things in your world, your family, your life today as we have this discussion? How are you?
I'm so good. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be up in the building with you.
You're
The
welcome.
virtual building.
I get you. The elevator took a little bit while. I hope my team brought you up okay to the green room. It all worked okay?
All great.
Very good. Denise, listen, before we even begin, I had the pleasure of sitting with you at an event, at dinner, and things we were doing with some mutual friends, and I was just mesmerized. I've known your body of work before that and some things you do, but I think it's best, Denise, take a bit of time and unpack a bit your world to the Rundown with Ramon audience and others who may be seeing this. So sit back a bit and just unpack. Who is Denise Hamilton? What does she do? Who does she serve? Explain all that to us before we dive into how your tips for business owners.
Happy to. So I'm referred to as an inclusion strategist, which is a very specific niche in DEI. What that means is I actually help companies operationalize their DEI goals. It's one thing to have a list of platitudes and promises of what you're going to do. It's something else entirely to put those things into practice. So I help them kind of map out what they're doing and to deal with, the occasional kerfuffle when they have some kind of incident or crisis. I'm kind of like the Olivia Pope of DEI. So between that and my professional speaking business where I provide information around inclusion and specifically around women and around the issues of race. And then we're developing a full-on training company. You heard it here first for 2023. So we are busy. Oh, and I forgot, I'm an author. I can say that now. I have a deal with Norton that my book is going to be titled Indivisible, and it will be released January 2024. So I am busy. I got a lot going on.
Did you just break news on the Rundown with Ramon? Is that what just happened?
I did.
One of those big media and you just broke news like that?
I did.
See what I'm saying? Look how good God is. Look at that. All right. So let's dive into Denise. Let's talk about some of the things you do. I would love to touch in about diversity and inclusion, what it means to do, always educate. But then I think I'm going to set that aside, even though it's important. And I want to learn from you how you're running your business. I want to get all up in your business and understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you're scaling. Maybe go back a few years, what you've learned. And I'll repeat all this. Sometimes I ask 47 questions in one breath. But let's talk about your body of work. But then I do want to help the audience understand how they can grow, how they can scale, how they can try to do more, even though we're still only same hours in a day and we're one person. So first, Denise, touch on a few of the highlights. What are some of the companies need to understand about diversity and inclusion? It's a broad term. Some people think they know what it is. Some people don't. But from your lens, Denise, what is that we need to know?
Well, I think that we overestimate our capabilities when it comes to DEI. Everybody thinks it's about being a good person. and we think I'm a good person, so I'm probably in the middle of the skill level here. And the truth of the matter is, most people, if we were looking at inclusion on a continuum from 0 to 10,
Mhm.
10 being like the super wokes that have all the ads that look like Benetton ads, and have all the books and all this, like do all the things, and the 0 being, I don't even know what the letters stand for, right? DEIV stand for. Like, if we plot ourselves kind of in the middle, when most of us are really at the shallow end, we're at the low end, and which is fine. But you need to know where you are and be sincere about where you are in order to create a path for growth. Right? Like, you can't, you got to be honest. There's a deep integrity that's required to do DEI work. Even for me, like, I'm still learning. I did a speech a couple years ago and I used the term Eskimo, and somebody sent me a note that said, actually, they really prefer to be referred to as Inuit. And I was like, wow, it's so ironic that I'm here telling people how to be inclusive, and even I make mistakes sometimes. So we have to approach, I think, DEI with the idea that I'm going to make mistakes. We're going to get it wrong. But guess what? If you're doing anything worth doing, you're making mistakes and you're going to get it wrong sometimes. But we can't approach it with fear, and we can approach it with an overarching sense of like cockiness and certainty. Like, we got to be someplace in the middle. So I love the work. The work is hard, but the audiences are so receptive because they want to do it better. And it's very encouraging for me to go into these spaces. I specialize in really conservative industries like oil and gas, finance, tech,
That's
which you
tough.
would think is, yeah,
I'm
that
guessing.
for a lot of companies, I'm their first DEI speaker. I'm their first person that, that's consulting their leadership team in this area of DEI. So I'm proud of that. Like, I love that I'm the place that people get to start on this journey. So I love what I do. I love the encouragement I get from people sincerely trying.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to an amazing 2023.
Yes, yes. There's a person in my life, Denise, who made a mistake similar to you said about a name, and I won't say that name, just for a variety of reasons. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth too much, so I'm going to poke fun at us brown skinned people. So let's say you're working with an organization, and somebody innocently, they're a good person, even though this is a bit far, but good person. Yes, some of the Negroes were over there having lunch. Now, they're a good person, honest and nice. Where do you index over this person? And again, I'm the layperson, so you teach me. Racist, bad, they knew what they were doing, versus, no, honestly, this 70-year-old nice gentleman, that's what he thought those people were called. So if it's helpful, what I'm trying to do is, how do you span that between the two, like the middle or not? What do you say? If you can, because that can happen in any version of this. What do you say?
Well, I think that, I'm going to give you two separate answers.
Great.
Okay. The first answer is, remember I talked about this continuum of 0 to 10. And the fact that we're not honest about where we are in that continuum. We have a lot of people that are at the 1 and 2 of this continuum in our society. That's one of the problems that we have. And we have to have a way to move people from 2 to 4 and 3 to 5. And let's be honest, we don't like those people. We're angry with them. We're impatient with them. We want them to know it. We want them to do better. And I do want them to do better, but we have to give them a path to doing better. So if I observed an incident like that, I would pull that person to the side and explain that the term is, has been outdated and is thought of as being offensive, and encourage them not to use it again. I don't believe in burning people, just like discarding people. I believe in charting along that continuum. And I see my job is to push you further along, right? And to get you from 3 to 5 or 5 to 7 as much as we can possibly do. So that's one answer. The other answer is, though, I forgive carefully, right? I believe that sometimes our forgiveness cheats people out of their lesson. And so I think that while I would be patient and I would explain, I would in fact explain that it is harmful. And I think sometimes in our efforts to be patient with people or kind to people, we minimize harm that they do, right? If you come up to me at the pool and ask me, do I live here? Right? You need to understand the harm of asking me that. And I cheat you out of that if I just say, oh, no big deal, no problem, no whatever. So both of those things I try to hold in the same space. And it is challenging, but to me, that is the work of inclusion. Helping people that are trying to learn and encouraging them and supporting them with kindness and grace in that journey, but also holding people accountable for harm that they cause and encouraging them to use that harm as much as possible. So both are true.
I love that, Denise. And I think what I'm hearing as well, then I want to move on to the business growth, my favorite part, but this is very important as well. But I think what I'm hearing is that it's education. And I think that's, if that's right, meaning there's broad terms, there's all kind of different people. Some people are horrible or not, whatever it is. But I think it seems like most of us just want to be or didn't have the chance to be or nobody educated us. And that's what I'm hearing you say is that, hey, Denise, thanks for saying, my blue shirt. But when you said that, I kind of felt something and you'd be, oh my, Ramon, I'm sorry, whatever. Is that fair what I'm hearing, Denise, that most common
Definitely,
good people will
will
move forward and then
you're hearing most of the time it's good people, but there are bad people.
Fair enough.
Right. And so my job is to hold space for both and to create room and accountability for both. The idea is to have an organization that lives its values. Right. And if you say it's important that everyone has a space to bring their gifts and their talents to this environment, then you have to live to that. And that means, I think John Kennedy is a beautiful quote. He says a society is judged by not only the policies and laws and whatever they create, but in the men that they honor. And I think that is such a beautiful concept that we tell a lot to the world by what behavior we permit, what we tolerate, what we allow. And so I believe organizationally, it's important to have a culture that is clear about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But once you define that, to allow people a path of growth.
I love it.
That's really how I think about it. I don't know. You're not as old as me, I don't think, but I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember when desktop computers came into the workplace. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
And
that was the computer.
Dude, you could take a Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel course 5 times a day if you wanted to. Those companies were like, you want to learn it? Come and learn it. Come and learn it. But then a day came when it was like, okay, Larry, you've taken 5 classes. You don't have an assistant anymore. You're going to have to start writing your own messages or your own correspondence. You're going to have to start doing your own expense reports. So that's how I think of inclusion the same way. Like, we're going to give you all the tools that you can have, but there's an expectation that you might make a mistake this year. I don't expect you to make the same mistake 3 years from now. Like, we need to see some growth. So that kind of compassion and accountability, that balance, that's the sweet spot.
I love that. I love that. And talking about growth, in Newark Airport, where I fly in and out of, it's over. Like, it's using apps in the phone. And my heart breaks for some of our grandmothers or aunties or whoever it may be, or others could be young, but most younger people just happen to get it. But boy, they're like hitting the button. Even that was revolutionary, Denise. I remember when we had to press the iPad in Newark Airport and everybody was paused. But now you don't press the button anymore. You have to scan the QR code. It's on your phone. So they quickly jumped to your point about let's get it. That's a side issue. But Denise, that was very educational. I think it's so important for many of us who are not experts in the war and the field and the education as you are day to day. I'm just a regular person. So I think we all need to be educated on this. And thank you, Denise, for that. Denise, before we jump on to our next topic, can you just remind us again, Denise, not the full thing, who you are, but more your website? People who are listening already and want to reach you, want to reach out to you. Can you just pause a bit and tell us the best websites or social, whatever you want that we can reach you? Please do that.
Sure. So my company is called Watch Her Work. So you can go to watchherwork.com. You can also go to denisehamilton.co, which is really my speaking business. And on Watch Her Work, we have a library of videos that offers professional advice for women. It's free of charge, and we hope that you'll go and learn and enjoy. The foundational belief of Watch Her Work is that you shouldn't have to have powerful friends to have powerful information. We want everybody to have access to the good advice that we've all had to be successful. And so we want to make that available to women wherever they are. And obviously, in my speaking business, at denisehamilton.co, you can learn about the different presentations I offer and how to reach out to me and how to connect. This year was an amazingly busy year, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic year next year as well.
Good. And we haven't released this yet, but I've just been signed as Denise's agent, all of you. So you can just come and see me. Please don't, go to her directly. Just come to me, 20, 30% Denise. And no, I'm just joking.
That's it. That's all.
But definitely check out Denise for all that you can do, how she can help you. So Denise, let's start. These conversations are always so hard because your body of work is done for years. But let's talk to those who are starting out, Denise, and want to grow their businesses and be Denise or whoever it may be. I guess my question is, right now you're doing several things, and maybe remind us of the pillars you're doing. I think you said you're launching a training company. You have a book. You're a speaker. You do several things, I'm guessing, beyond just Denise. What I'm trying to ask is, can you talk about some of the steps that you took to grow to this? Maybe you started out as a solo person just doing this, and then as the years went by, you got busier and busier. Maybe you had to get a team. Maybe you put systems. I know it's a very broad question, but can you just talk and paint that picture for those who are looking at you and saying, okay, how do I start to grow in the new year or in the coming years, if that's a fair question?
Definitely. I think the first thing is success is not a solo sport. Even if you are a solopreneur, you still have to focus on building the right team, the right systems, the right connections, the right vendors to be successful. And I think one of the things I had to do very early on is realize that, I am not the Lone Ranger. Even Jesus rode with a posse. And I think it's super important to find the right people. And sometimes you have to search for the right people. They're not obvious, right? I think we have a tendency to kind of grab the people that are most immediate to us instead of seeking out the true expertise. We have a habit of asking amateurs for expert testimony. And so I really committed to not doing that, to making sure if I need help with X, I am finding an expert in X, not somebody who has an ebook about X, right? Because those things aren't always the same. So one of the things I did was I really sat down and I identified all of the skills, all of the activities, all of the tactics I was going to need to do to be successful in my business. And I circled the ones that I shine at. Where is my giftedness? Where's my zone of genius? And I really identified the ones that I'm okay at. And I really underlined the ones that I'm terrible at. And those are the ones I really sought out support. And that came in a couple of different ways. Sometimes it was entrepreneurial organizations or accessing resources like a SCORE or a SBA or, programs that kind of cater to small businesses. So that was one group. The other group was finding a peer group of other entrepreneurs that were kind of a little bit ahead of me that could kind of give me that roadmap. And then last but not least, tons of reading, tons of research, tons of kind of skill development. Because one thing I really underestimated early in my career, in my business, rather, was that you need to know, even if you outsource something, you need to know how to manage that person that you're outsourcing to, right? Something like you can't be like, can you come in and do SEO when you don't even know what SEO looks like? You're not going to have the skill set to be able to supervise that work. Is it done correctly? Is it done efficiently? Was it done at all? Like you won't even be able to ascertain or to evaluate it. So I think kind of really finding my humility and being brutally honest about where I shine and where I flop. And I call it strategic mediocrity. I'm extremely committed to strategic mediocrity. Everything doesn't need to be an A. There are a few things in your business that can be a full confident C. And the lights are on and the train is running on time, right? But it doesn't, everything, when you try to be an expert at everything, you end up kind of being mediocre at everything. But if you say, you know what, this is just going to be average, but this right here, whoo, baby, I'm going to kill it on that. I find that to be more successful. And I call this the Michael Jordan principle. Covet other people's gifts. The dancer wants to be able to sing. The singer wants to be able to write. The best basketball player in the world wants to play baseball, right? We covet other people's gifts. No, and it's just human nature. So it's like, can you just release that coveting of other people's gifts and really celebrate and own your own?
Yes.
Can you do that? Can you
Yes.
name what your gifts are, where you shine, where you're killing it, like where your magic is, and live in that and not divert very precious, very finite energy trying to be great at everything. And once I did that, my business took off.
I love it. Let's play that game now, Denise. I'll say for me, my skills, I shouldn't say use the words I think and all that, but I'm getting work on myself. But I think my two skills are definitely, if this is a skill, but visioning things. I can smell, Denise, and I cry if I talk about it, how passionate it is. I can smell an end product. For example, as you may know, I recently started building Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse. We never had an email newsletter. We have 8 hours of programming a day. So I hired 10 writers. We have a daily email newsletter that goes out every day, like a train at 9 p.m. every day, Monday through Saturday. It goes out. We have writers, editorial team. I built it. Now, I didn't do the detail work because what I'm getting at, what I'm not great at is the details. I just don't like it. Like I tell my team, please don't ask me if I want fish or shrimp. Don't ask me, do I want high carpet, low carpet? Don't ask me what color should how high should the stage be? I don't care. I don't know. There's other people who can deal with that. So my point is, I think that's one thing Ramon does well is visioning, and maybe there's a better word. And then two, I definitely love the stagecraft and performance. That, by God's grace, I will own that. You want me to host the biggest event in the world? Based on what my clients tell me. So that's my, star round, whatever you said, that's what I rock.
I have a few more for you though. I have a few more Ramon gifts. I think you have an incredible ability to enlist, to recruit people to your vision.
Yes.
There's one thing to be a visionary and have a vision. It's an entirely different skill set to be able to say, come on in here, the water's fine. Join me on this journey. That is a very discreet gift that is extremely valuable. The other gift I would say is stick-to-itiveness. Right? Like this ability to kind of say, here's my vision. I'm going to start here, but I'm going to follow it to completion. I don't know how many people have 75% of a book in their computer. 62% of an article in their computer, 45% of a new business in their computer, because they got the idea, they got to see, they got the vision, but they don't know how to take it all the way through. And that is not, that I believe that is a skill. That is a skill to ride the vicissitudes and the challenges. It's first to anticipate them, to see them when they come, and to ride through them, right? These are all gifts. And so this is what I do with clients sometimes is I make them sit down and like, tell me what's fabulous about you and really list it out. And so if as people are listening to this presentation, I hope that they will do that exercise for themselves. And your gift may be something that the world doesn't appreciate. I want to stay there for a second. You may have the gift of encouragement. That's not nothing. Now, the world doesn't put a price tag on a gift of encouragement, but I can tell you, as a person that has been in entrepreneurial groups, mastermind groups, whatever, throughout most of my career, that the person that has the power to pick you up when you are down, who has the power to say, keep going, I believe in you, those people I hold so close and dear. And when I have opportunities to share with them, they're the people that I tap, because I remember how they lifted me up when my head was hanging low. So the world may not appreciate or put a dollar value to what a gift is. Still put it on your list, because it does feed into your business. And it is something for you to think about as you figure out what you're going to keep and what you're going to outsource. For example, if you have an amazing gift of encouragement, you can hire an office manager, but never give up your touch with your people, your connection, your team building, because you have this incredible gift to make them feel a part, right? So that's what I mean when I say like this list of what your gifts are, name them. They've been given to you for a reason, to do amazing, incredible things. And how are you going to do those things if you don't even value the gifts you were given? You're sitting around worried about what Beyonce can do. Beyonce has her gifts. What are yours?
That's right. Denise, I can't wait to hear you. I don't know if I've ever heard you speak on stage, but I know it's powerful. I can just feel it. I can't wait to see you on stage in 2023. Well, I'm the agent, so of course I'm going to see you on stage many times, but
yeah, it's just a matter of time. Yeah.
this is not a time. But Denise, and by the way, what are your gifts? What are the things that you would circle and say the one or two things you do very well? What are things that you would say it's
turn
not?
that back on me,
Yes,
Ramon.
yes, if you don't mind.
Turn that back on me.
Yeah.
I would say my gift is wordcraft, like wordsmithing, like phrasing something in a way that people will lean in and pay attention. My gift, one of my gifts is kindness and encouragement. I would say I have the gift of encouragement. I think that's true. I think another gift that I have is the ability to see things in a systems theory, like in a pragmatic way, dispassionately. Like, what are the inputs, what are the throughputs, and what are the outputs? I think that is a gift, to be able to move yourself out of the emotional reaction of a situation, but to be able to see the moving parts, because then you can identify the levers that you can hit to change the outcomes or to create different results. So yeah, like I got a lot of them. I got a lot, and I'm proud, and I take full ownership of them. I think it's so important. And the worst thing, I hate it. I hate it more than anything. I mean, I'm not really good at anything. I don't really know what the shame, the devil. I can't even receive that. I cannot receive that. You have to know yourself, and you have to love yourself. And a part of that, the beginning of that, is who am I and what am I good at?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And Denise, one thing I can say just from my observation of you, I don't know if it's a trait or talent, but an observation is you definitely have a confident approachability. And by that, just what I mean is that, it's all of us who are in front and building these empires and things. I just think I've stopped playing pretending I'm not confident. I don't want to be arrogant to some degree, you know what I mean? But confident that, hey, if you can't deal with confidence, I can't help you. But approachability, I always want to be the person that anybody can come up, hey, Ramon, how are you? And I'll hug them. You know what I mean? Not confident like I'm confident, but like I'm confident. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. You need to be a person who I don't need you to be small for me to be big. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna be big, Ramon. Like, I need us to be really clear. I believe in Denise Hamilton. Yes. Right. I believe in Ramon Ray. Like, I think we have some amazing gifts, right? So I'm gonna be big, but I don't need you to be smaller for me to be big. That's why when people talk, I get clients that sometimes come and it's like about competition and, I see this person doing this and this person has that. And I never think you're never in competition with anyone else. You're always competing with yourself, right? As many gifts, as much as we just listed out, like these incredible gifts that we also can be honest that very few of us are living up to the full potential of our giftedness. Maybe we're doing 68%. And you know what? 68% is fine when you're gifted, right? When you're talented.
Yes.
I could probably wake you up at 8:00 in the morning and say, Ramon, you got to do a speech at 9:00.
Done.
And you would just get up there and do it because of natural ability, right?
Yes.
And so there's a temptation when you have a natural ability to just kind of phone it in. Because you don't really have to work but so hard, and you don't really have to do. So I never see the competition as other people. I see the competition is me and Denise. You only gave 68% on that. What would this be like if you gave 86? Ooh, this thing would be crazy if you took it up a notch. So that's my race. My race is not with you. My race is not with her or him or what. And that helps me to not be jealous and competitive. We have a common friend, Crystal Washington, beast in the world of professional speaking, beast, giant. All I want to do is cheer. Yes. All I want to do is cheer. So I don't understand people that spend energy with jealousy and competition. You being big doesn't require me to be small, and me being big doesn't require you to be small. We can all be big.
Yes. And let's just brag about Crystal one more minute. The thing about her that I most love about her is that going back to confident, what did I say? Confident
approachability.
And I say the mutual organizational part of, and just how confident and baller she is. But she took the time, especially when I first got to know her. Hey, Ramon, come over here. Ramon, do you know Jerry? Jerry, do you know Ramon? I'm like, like a little boy in a schoolyard. I was like, wait a minute, Crystal introduced me to them. So I was just that just, as we're saying, that just character is just confident for sure. Wordsmith like nobody's business, but that approachability, and I'm just one of the peeps, but I'm quite confident who I am.
And security, right?
Yes.
Adding you to the fray doesn't take anything away from her. It adds to her.
Yes.
She doesn't see it as a problem. Oh, I'm introducing someone that's going to be a future competitor. I've never heard her think like that. And Crystal actually is who got me speaking professionally. She's who called me. She called me. She said,
and we referred each other, me and Crystal have.
I said, I see you out. She called me and she said, I see you out here in these streets, like speaking. Are you, what's your fee? Like, are you set up and, can I help? And I was like, fee? What do you mean? Like, I wasn't getting charged. I wasn't charging any fees. I was just kind of doing it. Yes. And she really pushed me to ask for my first fee and to ask for the next fee and the next fee and the next fee. And like, now I'm at a number that I could not have imagined a few years ago when I got started. So like generosity of spirit, sharing of knowledge, building community, right? And so now we're in a space that she can call me and ask me for help on something. I can call her and ask her for help on something. And we all get better. Like that's win-win-win. And so when you're surrounded with people that see you as competition, as a threat, and you need to pick up your little toys and move to a different family, because those are not your people. Yes. You need people that believe in themselves completely so that they're not worried about you.
Yes.
And they just want you to shine, and just like they want themselves to shine. So when you think about this as a new business owner, it's really important to kind of pick who's your personal board of directors. Who are your people that really you take what they say seriously, they have your best interests at heart, and they know something about what they're talking about. Your mom can't be on your board of directors. She just thinks you are so cute.
Let her be, mom. Yes, indeed.
But she may not be the best person to evaluate your keynote speech. She just whatever you say is going to be, oh, baby, you're so incredible. So you have to find, and that takes courage. And I'll say this. They may be a different race. Mm-hmm. They may be a different gender. Mm-hmm. They may be a different age. They may all kinds of differences. Don't limit yourself to people that look like you. Push yourself out of that comfort zone. All you want is the people. If I'm going to California, all I want is the people that have been to California. Do you know how to get there? Okay. It doesn't really matter what meat bag they come in. Yes. If they have the capacity to give you information, take that information and just grow.
Love that. No, Denise, that is powerful. Let's touch on two more things I want to touch on, Denise, and we could, we should just have a 4-hour segment. Why don't you get some dinner? We'll just keep recording and just come.
My husband would disagree.
That's the confident Denise. No, I think we're not going to do that. But Denise, listen, let's talk about scaling as well. Another dimension of, can you talk about who was on your team, titles and et cetera, the number of people? And what I'm trying to get at is that doing so many things, how do you scale yourself? And as an example, I know in my case, I have a project manager, I have a social media manager, and other people on my team doing things. And then another thing is that sometimes I have individual freelancers. For some things I found, Denise, I may use a whole agency. So that's maybe a convoluted question, but I'm just curious to learn, how do you do it? You have your book out. That's a process. I'm assuming you have some events. That's a process. There's training. That's a process. So can you just give us a peek into the Denise world? Who does what, how, when do you use agency? What things do you just do? What things do you, Ramon? I don't worry about it. Becky has it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. So I have 2 full-time staff. Okay. And I use a hub and spoke model, right? So kind of like we have our base of operations and we farm out duties as needed. So before, when revenues were lower, we would use like Upwork or Fiverr, sites like that, to find people that could do like this finite task, right? And one thing I did that was a really great practice, and I wish I had done it earlier in my journey, is sometimes I would hire 5 people to do the same job.
Yeah, I've done that.
Right. And why? Because if you have 5 different options that are presented to you, you're going to theoretically get a far better product. And also, if somebody flakes or
Right.
doesn't end up doing, you always have like the work doesn't stop. And
And
when
that's why I did it for testing, just to put that in there. I did mine, like when I was building BWC, I hired like 30 people. And actually, I paid all 30 people. So I knew I'd only end up at 10, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And just so you kind of have that consistent
Yeah.
production, right? So
Yeah.
that was really helpful. But then you know, I would hire people of higher expertise. I think there's a season where you kind of like hire minions to get things done. And there's a time where you got to move to the grown-up table and you need like an amazing social media team. I just hired an amazing video production team to do my reel.
Nice.
I've been a 5-figure speaker for years and I've never had a reel. And I'm like, well, can I get to 50K if
Come on, let's go.
if I put the resources to look more like the person I am inside? What's really possible? So that goes back to what I was saying about like living at the top of your capabilities. Are you really doing that? Most of us aren't. But anyway, so I hired a top-notch team for that. And that's an investment, right? But if we ask people every day to bet on us, do we bet on ourselves? So we invest in our own success and our capabilities. So, you know, if I need writers, I will source writers. If I need video production of any kind, or if I need, I use a hub and spoke model as opposed to bringing a bunch of people on full time. I grab them on an as needed basis. My businesses are all incredibly aligned. So it's not like, you know, I'm doing popcorn over here and, you know, a massage parlor over here, right? Like they're very
That's
aligned.
not a line.
Yeah, that's not a line. Nobody wants popcorn at the massage parlor. But anyway, so like making sure that, you know, we have the maximum impact of each thing that we do. And so there's a process that we have. I actually got from Black NSA, an event they had after Influence in Denver. And it's called 5X. And I've employed it in my business. And I think every single person should do it. Every time you do something. So in my case, it might be getting booked to speak in San Francisco. Okay. If you are booked to speak in San Francisco, challenge yourself to find 5 ways you're going to maximize that opportunity. So maybe one is you're going to request their professional video of that. Maybe you are going to do local media in San Francisco while you're there. Maybe you have a new book or you have expertise, reach out to the local TV stations to see if they want some talent since you're going to be in town. Are you going to meet with 3 other clients that are potential people to bring you in? You get the idea, like push yourself. So we literally have the 5X form. And that every time we book something, especially if it's out of town, we try to challenge ourselves to find how are we going to maximize that opportunity. I think when you're an entrepreneur and you have a small team, creativity is your friend, right? And so anytime that you can do one thing and get 5 returns or 4 returns out of it, it's going to be beneficial. So making sure your businesses are aligned and making sure you are thinking of the ways that an expenditure here can benefit you in all these other places is really key. But yeah, like the staffing piece is hard. I know it's hard to hire. It's hard to, if you don't provide benefits or you can't pay a really super high salary, it can be hard to get great people. But my experience is that the freelance market is booming. The gig economy in the US is on fire. So I would encourage people to really figure out how to tap those people. And, you know, like, for example, we talked about using Upwork. If I have a writing piece I need done, I'll hire 5 or 10 people. And yes, it's to get that writing piece, but it's also to see, hey, who is out there? It's an audition of sorts. And so collecting those resources so that when you need that help, you can tap those people and not waste time every single time looking for new people. I think that's really a valuable approach as well.
No, I love that, Denise. I've started 5 companies and sold 3 companies, and all that's been, Denise, on Upwork. No, wow. You know, listen, I mean, it's been on hacking, you know, and I've gotten pretty good at how to do the title, the description. My last executive assistant, her name is Jamie. Oh, Jamie, you're amazing. 7 years she has been with me. 7 years. Started on
Wow.
Upwork. But the title, just a tip for those listening, I put something like at the time, you eat Eventbrite and you drink Infusionsoft. That's the kind of descriptions I do. I knew only a certain breed of people would hear that call.
Yeah.
And it so happened. So meaning, but yes, I totally get it. But there's many ways to do it. Lastly, Denise, and thank you so much for being with us. I hope you all check out Denise and watch her work, or see DeniseHamilton.co. Invite her to speak at your next big event.
Follow me on Instagram at @officialdham. My publisher is looking at me. She's like, we need you to have more followers. I'm like, I'm 52 years old. Do I really need Instagram followers? Yes, you do. Yes. So follow me at @officialdham on Instagram.
We're going to make that happen. Let's do that. Say it again, Denise.
Official D Ham.
All right. Mm-hmm. So Denise, you got to do stuff like, hi, my name is Denise. Do you? You got to do all that TikTok stuff that people do. You know, got to do it. You don't want to do that.
It makes my head hurt.
All right.
Trying. Pray for me.
I will do it. Let's talk about Clubhouse, Denise, Adam Grant, relationships. I think we can squeeze them all into one breath. And I like interviewing you, Denise, because I can ask you 47,000 questions in one breath and you just go for it. So let's talk about relationships. Adam Grant, you're working with him. How? And then you touched on Clubhouse. I'm very active in there too. But I suspect it centers about relationships. That's what I think. I could be wrong. Denise, talk to us.
Definitely. I mean, your relationships, it's just your biggest currency. Yeah. It just is. You need people that are willing to take you into rooms that you don't even know exist. And the only way to do that is to reach outside your comfort zone, connect with people, have the courage to create relationships, and then to tend the garden of those relationships. Mm-hmm. And that's not a small thing, right? It's hard to maintain a large number of relationships in any way that's substantive, but I promise you the return on the investment of time is 50-fold, right? As you meet people, one thing I would say, if I was giving like some homework around this, I would say, are you following everybody that you know on LinkedIn? Can you put 4 hours and just make sure, go through your phone book, make sure everybody that you need to be connected to, you're connected to. Why? People move jobs, they leave cities, they don't leave LinkedIn. LinkedIn is always, it's like it's evergreen. That's right? So that's the first place. The second, and then make sure, of course, you filled out your bio and you filled out everything so people can find you. They can't love you if they can't find you, right? So there's that. And then really spending some time cleaning up your phone book, cleaning up your contacts. Do you have emails, phone numbers? Do you have a picture in there so you remember? Now, who is this? Larry Jenkins. Who is Larry Jenkins? I cleaned up during the lockdown of the pandemic. I cleaned out an office, and Ramon, I had enough business cards to wallpaper a room. It was something, and I was like, wow. You can spend your whole life networking and never build a network.
That's right. Oh,
you could just collect. You could collect names, you could collect cards, but when the rubber hits the road, you can't call that person. You can't connect with them. You can't do any kind of exchange of value because you didn't really build any kind of connection. So I guess the challenge I would have is like, clean up your contacts, drop people a note. How are you? Happy holidays. I hope everything is well with you. Would love to connect in the new year. What are you working on right now? Just a simple few minutes. Just set aside a couple hours and just really dive into, who am I connected to? And then think, who do I want to be connected to? I got some amazing cold communication during the pandemic. I mean, people were focused on LinkedIn. Yes. Hey, Denise, I see that you do da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I would love to chat with you for 15 minutes. Could we jump on a Zoom? And I did it 9 times out of 10 because everybody's got 15 minutes to help somebody else or connect with somebody else. So I think I would encourage people listening that you want to grow, but like I said, success is not a solo sport. So you want to put some actual strategy and tactics of how are you going to maintain these relationships? Don't just focus on catching them. Oh, we want this many Instagram followers. We want this many people to follow us on Clubhouse. We're in a collection mode. So what? If you can't connect with those people when it's time to really make something of that, who cares? It doesn't even matter,
Yeah.
right? I always say this. I believe I'm maxed out on LinkedIn. I'm maxed out on Facebook, right? I got a lot, Ramon, I got a lot of friends. I could live the rest of my life and not get one more friend. What I'm looking for is people to drive the getaway car. I
Mm.
want some people I can call from jail. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. So instead of this like commitment to wide, how do we go deep? How do we really connect? How do we get serious about this thing? And if we do, I just think the rewards are just tenfold. You don't know who knows who, who knows who knows who, or who saw you on their page because they did a nice comment about you. And you just don't know. And there's a casting of your bread on the water that you need to do in tending the garden of relationships. So
Love it.
I'm, as you can tell, I am extremely bullish on people,
Yeah.
on human connection. And I believe that if you feed what you want to grow, you'll get the fruit that you want to get.
I love it. I love it. And my friend Amanda Holmes, do you know the Holmes organization, Chet Holmes sales
Yeah.
organization? They have
Yeah.
something called Dream 100. I think they focused it on for large companies and sales and things like that. He passed away many years ago, but I've modified that, and it's not a new thing, but my version of it, to just my network. So I go through my phone and I modify it week to week, month to month, depending on who I meet, and just tag people in my Google contacts, Dream 100. So it's not the larger list, which, you know, there's several different segments of our life, right? And so I dynamically change Dream 100. This is someone who I need to follow up with, and I do it about several times a year. And it's not an ask. I don't need anything. It's literally, as you said, hey, just wanted to say hi, and kind of what you just said. So Denise, I concur with that as well. And by the way, count Ramon on Team Denise for your book launch coming out. Tell your publisher you at least have one person. I'll be at the top of the list, really. Zone of Genius, Breakfast with Champions, Ramon Social, all that is yours, Denise, when you're ready to get that out. So please do call upon me. Add me to your blogger, influencer, media list, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that's what it takes, right? We got to lift each other up.
Yes, yes.
We got to lift each other up. And when you see me in these social media streets, please like, please forward, please comment, and I will do the same for you. And that's what we need to do for each other, right? Like, you know, we have to lift up, we have to feed what we want to grow. And I want your businesses to thrive.
Yes.
I want you to be on the cover of Time, honey. So what do we need to do to make that happen? Let's be that for each other. Let's be that for each other.
Denise, let's talk about Adam Grant. How did you connect with him? What's that all about? What's going on? He's the biggest name of biggest names. Tell us that story.
Clubhouse. It's a simple one-word answer. Wow. He heard me talking on Clubhouse, which is why I'm, you know, I tell speakers specifically, get on Clubhouse, get in social media, Twitter Spaces, LinkedIn Audio, get in those spaces where people can be exposed to you. If you know your gift is the gift of gab, then you need to be all over social media, social audio. And so Adam, you know, heard me in a couple rooms that we started hosting some rooms together, and the rest is history. He just said, I just believe in you. And, you know, our paths probably would have never crossed, right? So I'm excited. We have so many tools at our disposal. And I'm always encouraging people, especially people who are a little bit older like I am. Like, I know that you can be tempted to be a late adopter, and technology seems like it's moving so fast, but I just really want to encourage people, like, try it. Open up an account, jump on LinkedIn Live, go and listen for a little bit, go on Twitter Spaces, see what they're talking about, and just be a part of the conversation. Don't be a spectator, right? I think because I jumped in and I was willing to speak and share my gifts, you know, somebody was able to pick them up. People want to find you. That's what Clubhouse has really taught me. People want to find you. They are not coming to your house to find you in your closet. You are going to have to put yourself in spaces that they can connect with you. And so what does that look like? That's different for everybody, right? But I think that commitment to putting yourself out there is the thing that's going to be the way that genius person, that accomplished person, that resourced person can say, that one. I want to bet on that one.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And so I'm so grateful. I think 2023 is going to be a phenomenal year. And I think that building and connecting around relationships in a small way creates you an opportunity to do it in a bigger way. And so just start where you are. Yes, it's cool that Adam Grant and Simon Sinek and Mika Brzezinski, like I'm so glad to have met all those people and to know them. They're amazing. But I also have a lot of value from conversations from people all up and down that food chain, because, sometimes, you need that friend that's closer in your stage of journey that can say, girl, is it an S Corp or a C Corp? Or, you have that granular question. So yes, it's cool to have aspirations of people like that being invested in you. And I'm grateful for that. But I'm equally invested in my direct peer group that is just like, go, girl, go. Yes. Hey, did you file your taxes yet? And just reminding me, hey, did you do your PPP loan app? Yes. We had a group of us that were calling around, like, make sure, what do you need? Like, you need those friends too. So I just think it's really important to have like the full line of opportunities with relationships.
I love this. I mean, if you look at our journeys, Denise, you got to meet Nika, Simon, Adam, Ramon. I mean, I don't think you can go any higher. And then think of me. I interviewed President Obama. I've been with Seth Godin. I've been with Damon John. I'm talking to Denise Hamilton. Look at us, Denise.
Big time. I mean, ballers and shot callers. That's what we got.
One more time, Denise, tell us how to reach you, whatever you like, and any last words. This has been such a great conversation. I can't wait to talk to you again and again and uplift each other. But one more time, talk to the audience here.
Yes, please. On socials, I'm official DHAM, like official Denise Hamilton, official DHAM. And my speaking site is denisehamilton.co. There's another Denise Hamilton. Can you believe it? So she has denisehamilton.com. But nevertheless, and my original company is Watch Her Work. That's professional advice for women, and we'd love to have you stop by if you need some information.
Denise, you are a gem and a treasure, and I'm so glad you're here with the Rundown with Ramon audience. And again, my name is Ramon Ray, and you can find me at ramonray.com. Thanks, Denise.